Welcome to Two Girls with Mike.
I'm Crystal,
I'm Lena, and
and thank you for joining us.
yay!
We're excited. So, Lena and myself are also bloggers on Instagram. I'm My Love of Books, and she's Lena Thoughts. So, we decided that we wanted to start a podcast to talk about everything Black. We're promoting business, small business owners, Black romance authors, different genres, as well as our Black bloggers. Our first guest is a new author to us, author A.S. Wilson.
Yes.
And we love her, love her. And I wanted to say thank you for joining us on our very first episode.
Yay.
Hello. Can you hear us? And
Yeah.
now we can hear you.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you for joining us.
Yes. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, we're definitely a big fan of your work,
Yes.
and we are definitely excited about talking to you today. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been writing?
So I would say really I've been writing my whole life. I remember writing as a child in a way that I thought to be serious. I write poetry, like school and napkins, writing poetry. I actually ended up publishing a couple of poems in undergrad in like a traditional publication. And I got some great feedback, but at the same time, I got a couple of responses to my poetry that wasn't exactly what I was hoping for.
Mhm.
One of the poems that I had published was a poem about race and
Oh.
about people mispronouncing my name and having a difficult time with it. So I actually got a response from one of my friends where she's like, I thought the whole poem was so funny. It was so hilarious. And I was like, it wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
And I've gotten tougher skin now, but at that time, back when I was in college, I took that type of feedback a little too hard. I decided I would never publish again. It was very intense for me. So I didn't publish for a long time. I didn't plan to publish again until I just realized years and years later that my passion for writing wasn't going away.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a dream one day and wrote a book based off of the dream. Next thing you know, I published my first novella at the end of 2019, and I've been writing contemporary romance ever since.
Well, we are glad
Right.
that you
Good.
did.
Yes, definitely.
This book here, I tell you, I love it.
Yes, definitely.
I messaged Crystal like, oh my gosh, I love this book. I cannot get enough of them. So
Thank you so much. I love this setup too. I love the candles and the vibe.
Yes, thank you. Because that's what we do when we're reading. Like, we
Right.
have to have a vibe for ourselves so we're comfortable, want to get into the book. And one thing I can say about you, I don't care what you put out. When I see you have a book, I'm buying it. I don't have
Right.
to go read the synopsis. I don't need to know anything. I'm just buying it. And that's the type of author that I love.
Mhm.
Like, I don't care. Oh, she's put out a new book. Let me go get it.
Right.
That's how it is.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. I mean, we are definitely a big fan of your work. So what's next for you? I mean, as far as writing, are you still going to continue contemporary? Do you think you may go outside of that bubble a little bit, or?
I'm comfortable in contemporary romance right now, but I have dabbled a little bit in paranormal. One of my books had a little paranormal element to it, and I'm interested in going there again.
Is that Keeper?
A Powerful Love?
A Powerful Love. Okay. Keeper was your second book, which introduced me to you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Now, what?
So I don't know if it might be a shock to readers for me to go back into the paranormal, but
Hey,
But yeah,
definitely let us know because I am a huge fan of paranormal. So I love paranormal.
awesome.
And if you can pull me in, then you did good because I have not read. My first book that I read was one author, but I'm definitely So I might have to go ahead and do a Powerful Love to see. Okay, she gonna have me trying her other book. I'll definitely do that. Definitely.
I love paranormal. Because you have to really step outside of your comfort zone to write about make believe creatures,
Right.
So I love it. I love it. So that's something that I definitely cannot bring up. And I'm excited if you do that. Definitely let me know because I will definitely.
Yes. So if you could be any other person, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I'll probably be a person with a little more bank than I currently have. But at the same time, I think I also wanted to be somebody who is really able to express themselves creatively, fully, because that's important to me.
Okay.
I'm in a position where I am able to express myself pretty fully creatively, but if I could be like a Beyonce.
All of us.
All of us, right. I think that's how everybody feels.
At this point, it's kind of like she doesn't have anything to prove.
Right.
And she's beyond that point of let me introduce myself, let me try to let you all know I've got something of value. You should be interested. She's way beyond that.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
So I look forward to being in a position like that, of like a Beyonce, where it's like she can do things that other people can't do. She can drop an album without any promo.
Right.
And
overnight.
She can come out with something totally different from any of her past projects, and people are still going to go for her.
That is true. But I feel like you're almost there because, like I said, I don't care what you drop. I don't need to hear a synopsis. Right. I just know you're dropping a new book. I know I'm going to get it. So you're getting there.
Yeah,
you're getting there. So that's a good thing to know. So that's, you can take and pat yourself on the back because definitely you're getting there, that you got to the point that you have some fans that would go ahead and download your books without having to read the synopsis or know what's going on or huge promo. So that's definitely true.
Now you just released a book called Love from Beyond. How did that come about? What made their story come to you?
Well, I actually started off trying to write something light. But I started writing something light and it just wasn't captivating me. The story wasn't interesting me, and I need the story to be interesting to me before I can write convincingly about it to y'all. Because I feel like readers can tell if you're only halfway feeling what you're writing. So I actually put that book aside, and the idea just came to me. I was thinking about bucket lists, and I was thinking about I have a friend who passed away back in 2013. Yes, she passed away in 2013, and it can be such a shock on top of the grief when someone in their 20s or 30s passed away unexpectedly.
Yes.
So I was thinking about how two individuals might deal with something like that when they're both dealing with grief over the loss of someone they mutually knew, but they're both having their own experience of that grief. So they end up coming together in this cabin because the mutual friend who they lost, he actually made a list before he died. He made a letter out to both of his friends, Anika and Kadeem, the main characters, and told them basically, these are things that I know I will never be able to do now. I have planned all these things I wanted to go and do before my lifetime is over, and now I know I'll never get to do these things. So as my friends, I would love if you will honor me by going and doing these things in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So, of course, as good friends, they both decide to take the trip and try to honor his wishes. They don't know that he made arrangements for them to stay in the same cabin. Right. It's almost like a stranger danger situation.
That's true.
They're both in the same cabin together. But of course, it doesn't take long for them to realize that it's because of their mutual friend, Drake.
Right.
Even though they never met each other, they eventually put the pieces together and realize that's why they're together. And he must have intended for it to be that way for a reason, so they'll do the list together. So there's so many things that connect these characters, but also there's one big thing that kind of creates a rift between them, and that's the secret that Anika has.
Right.
Secret that she's held on to for basically a decade.
Yeah.
So there comes the question of whether or not they're going to be able to survive this secret that, could really just threaten all the love that's been kindled between them while they're together that weekend.
Yes.
Well, everyone should definitely get it because I love it. I mean, I love their characters. I think they are, pretty much how you've been, especially with
Forever With You.
Right, Forever With You. I've noticed in the majority of your books now that your female characters are really stepping out, like they have something to prove with themselves. So
I love that, definitely.
So I'm, definitely everyone should grab that one because it's great. But Forever With You, when I tell you, I know I keep going back to it.
Yes.
But that book, I love it. I mean, it was just like, and look, we made the Blue Mojito, the one I said need to go with it.
Yes.
Because she was just her own person, and no matter what situation she was in, she did not allow anyone to make her feel bad about what she was doing, or who she was. And I love that with all your characters, even with Anika. Now I can't remember the other. I just read
Fuel My Fire.
Fuel My Fire.
Yeah, my screen has probably went out. This is a favorite of mine as well. Like, I can't sit here and say I have just one of your books is my favorite. I don't know. Let's take that back. Yeah, we can. This one is. This is our favorite, definitely. I just like the fact of when you're having strong female characters in a book. We do always talk about our males in the books and how they are book babes and I want him, but some of your characters is, I would like to be like her. Like the definitely thing I liked about in Forever With You is her relationship with his sister, because it was hard for her to lose her job being in a symphony, and her sister, not her sister, but his sister, that was not something she wanted really to do, and it was do what you want to do, not what they want you to do. And that's what we as women need to constantly tell other women. Don't, I'm here for you.
Right.
We're going to do this together. If this is what you want to do, and that's what we're going to do. And that's how this podcast came to fruition. Right. Because I was like, I want to do it, but I knew I didn't want to do it by myself. So when Lena was like, let's do this, we did it. So like I said, that's one thing I like about your books. I mean, just your writing in general. I have definitely seen a difference in your writing. Just your book, Just Friends 1 and 2, definite difference. I love the fact, and I could say that will probably be my favorite because you got my two areas. I was born and raised in DC, and I moved to Atlanta. So you had both. And I was just like, she got DC, so yay. But I love the fact that they were friends first. They were very good friends, long distance friends, and they still had a great friendship. But eventually they knew that they needed to be together, and they gave it a shot.
Right.
Let's get it. That's definitely.
And even if Fuel My Fire, Soraya, I love the fact that I love the fact that Prince actually made her face her demons.
Yes, definitely.
Because she was hiding so much from herself and from her family and people around her. But he made her face her demons and made her realize exactly what she wanted. And even with was it Guarding My, what did I just read? Guarding My Heart. Yeah, Guarding My Heart. Reese, as stubborn as she was, because I was like, girl. But I've become a big fan of the female characters in your books. I'm loving it. But what do you do? What do you think you can? What do you do for research with your books? How do you research the stories? Do you research the stories or things in your books? Because I noticed some staple things from Atlanta in your books, like the racetrack, and
Yes.
different things like that. And I know you're here in Georgia, but do you do some research for like, especially like race car drivers and things like that?
Right. I found myself doing all kinds of research for several of the past books because you want to be able to present a realistic idea of what your characters' lives are like, what they're going through. And so when it came to, for example, for Fuel My Fire, the race car driving experience,
Yes.
I was on YouTube watching races, trying to understand what it was like, what it would be like to be in a race. I did research about what it's like for the drivers. If you recall, I mentioned like the type of gear that they wear,
Right.
that it gets like over 100 degrees inside the car.
Yes.
Just to give an understanding of really how tough that job is. I mean, even dangerous aside, just being able to function in the type of environment they're in, this loud car and this extreme heat, and that was important to me. It's important to get those details in because it helps with character development too. Because it's the fact that you can think of this character, Soraya, going through this. This is something she loves to do, something she wanted to do, something that's tough, something that she actually had a passion for. And that goes toward her sort of animosity toward Prince.
Right.
For feeling like he took something that she was so passionate about lightly.
Yeah, she was really bummed about that. Like, and I love the fact that she told him that because sometimes we don't say what we really want to say, and he had to think, okay, well now I see why you're so upset with me because you're serious about this, and I'm really not. I'm not sure if I want to do this the rest of my life because that's what he was up against. Like, do I want to continue to be a race car driver? And that's all she wanted to be.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes, definitely. So I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As far as the geographic locations,
Yes.
I like to base a lot of my settings in Atlanta where possible, since I'm really familiar with Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for a year, and I'm in Georgia still.
Right.
So when I set something in Atlanta, it's like I don't have to do a lot of research as far as like the traffic and the streets and
Yes.
what are the kind of places that they can go there, the locales. Like I already kind of know that. Same with DC, New York. If you notice, those cities kind of come up a lot because I don't have to do a lot to already understand like what's the feel, what's the vibe, what do people wear, where do people go, and all those kind of things because you want it to feel real.
Right.
So when I do write about something that I haven't experienced, I definitely feel like it's important to do research.
So with you, Forever With You, that was set in South Carolina. So how did you do your research for that?
So I have spent a decent bit of time in the two cities that were in Forever With You. It was Columbia and Charleston.
Right.
And I have spent a significant amount of time in both of those cities in South Carolina as well.
Okay.
But I did also do research into, there was the scene where they went to like a festival.
Yes.
The violin is playing at a festival.
Yes.
So I did some internet searches to I looked at pictures and everything to get an idea of what downtown Columbia was like. What kind of restaurants are you going to see? What is it, how populated is it? Are there going to be a lot of people on the street? I want to be as true to the experience as I can. So I did research what was going on downtown Columbia, what kind of spaces they have there and all of that. So that would feel real. Because sometimes, also it's important because some of the things you're writing about, people who maybe have experience.
Yes, definitely.
So if I write about being in a race car and it being really chilly in there,
right? And then I'm like, what?
They'll be like,
where did she get that from? Yeah, I've read some books where I'm like, that's not accurate. So like I need you to do a little bit better research, definitely.
Right.
So as far as promoting your books, what do you do yourself? And is there something that you can change as far as promoting your books?
Oh, there's always a way to
Yes.
What I do myself, I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
I am not on Twitter, so that's one thing I
Okay.
still need to do is get on Twitter as well.
Yes.
And I don't have a website yet. I've been putting off getting an author website until I feel like I'm totally prepared to make all the decisions I want to make as far as graphics and everything that I want to list. If I want to have a shop on there where I can sell my paperback, signed copies, and all of that. I've been putting that off a little bit, but I'm definitely going to want to get an author website up in 2021 for sure. And what I do now basically is on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
And also reaching out to the readers as much as I can on those platforms like you all. And
yes.
And everyone who's interested in these types of books, I market them as healing stories of pure love.
Which is true. I agree with you on that.
Thank you.
I definitely agree.
Commented that my stories were so pure. I was like, okay, well, I'll use that. So that's how I ended up with that. And a wise woman once said, that would be Love, that your readers are the best promo.
That's true.
That is true.
They're the best promo when you have readers who have come to you and they've found something they enjoy in you, they're satisfied in their experiences, and they want to go and tell other people about what a great experience they have with your books, and they become loyal readers because you continue to deliver for them. So I try to stay connected with my readers as much as I can because it's a great experience for the authors and the readers to have that kind of into community.
And especially now, since there's no book tours or no where we could go and actually meet authors now. So
that is true.
Social media has really
about all of the book events that were canceled in 2020.
Right.
Yes, I had them all lined up. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing is that with COVID being as the way it is, it kind of slowed down everything. But luckily, we have Instagram and Facebook to kind of help pick up and communicate and talk to each other because it's nothing like being able to read a book and say, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this has happened," and message the author and say, "Why did you do this?"
Yes.
So there's nothing like it. So it does.
It's interesting for us too. I've had a couple of people message me with questions and comments about things that no one else mentioned to me, and it was so interesting. Like it was in Guard My Heart. There was a reader who messaged me who was like, I cannot believe that they left Link out of the funeral program. How you gonna do Link like that? How you gonna do something like that? No one has brought that up to me before. I didn't know it really bothered anybody.
But do you read your reviews on some of the books? Because I've learned to kind of stay away from the reviews because some of the things people put in the reviews, I've seen stuff like that in a review. Like, why would you do something like this? And this is why, like, that should not be in a review. I don't understand that part. But reading the reviews, I mean, is that something big for you or do you kind of stray away from it?
I'm in the middle of the road on that these days because obviously with my first few releases, I was, glued to the screen, determined to see everything that anybody had to say about my work. But I've kind of eased off of it a little bit now.
Okay.
And that's just because, of course, we write for people to receive it. And so we want people to be pleased with the product. But at the same time, you want to be true to yourself and authentic to the stories that come to you. So you don't want to get caught up in reading reviews and feeling led to start to run askew of what you really want to write or how you really want to write because maybe readers don't like this aspect or readers don't like that aspect.
Right.
You don't want to find yourself just kind of sacrificing authenticity to try to satisfy more readers.
Right.
So I look at reviews, but I'm not glued to the screen like I used to be.
Got you.
Alrighty. So let me just ask you a question. What is your part? What part can you play in making Black romance just as popular as any of the other romance in any other nationality or race?
I think getting out there as much as I can is what's going to help with that, because sometimes you can't say enough. People have to see it. They have to be introduced to it. They have to experience something for themselves in order to understand the credibility that there is to it. One of my favorite authors, Brenda Jackson, talked about when she started writing Black romance, and she had a difficult time trying to break into like Harlequin and some of these other types of companies, because she had a hard time selling to them that yes, people want Black romance.
Right.
Right.
This is realistic. And so I think sometimes you have to just continue to plug away and make sure that you don't let yourself get too fatigued or tired or discouraged by anything. When you get empty, fill your cup and keep going.
Right.
Yes.
Because the more people that you reach, the more people that you can actually get your books in the hands of and get to understand you and what you're about,
Right.
the better. So I live in Georgia in like a kind of a smaller town, kind of Augusta.
Oh, okay.
So I really want to be able to do more in the community as well, to let people know what I'm doing, what I'm writing, and introduce more people to it here. There's a collection of a few small Black-owned businesses here. I've gone to those businesses, given them free copies of my books, chopped it up with them. As much as and in Charleston too, Columbia.
Oh, okay.
I can expose people to Black romance and the beauty of these stories and the fact that people want these stories. I think that will help.
Right. That will. I mean, because, you know, and even as bloggers, we have a hard time because, you know, when we try to promote Black romance a lot, sometimes we get a lot of pushback, and or why don't you also do this one? Why don't you also do that one? I mean, but we can also say the same about other book bloggers as well. When we look at their page, it's majority whites, and we'll be like, well, why don't you post, or why don't you read Black romance? Why is it, you know, why don't we include someone? So I think it's a two-way street between readers and authors promoting Black romance and getting it out there as much, because if we show that we love it, that's what we want, and that there is a market for it, then yes, it will be there, you know, and continue to rise and grow, because there's nothing like seeing a Black man and a Black woman get together,
build a life, have family,
and fall in love.
Yes.
And that they're not always drug dealers or, you know, or
killers,
right.
Yeah.
You know, so I love seeing the different aspects, because our people, our men and our females, women, we are so much more than just what people like to put us in a box.
Yes.
So I love it. And even
I think indie romance too, in particular, because you get a greater diversity, I think.
Yes.
Of the kind of stories that you'll see when it's when you have indie authors who are not being told by any traditional publisher, just write these types of stories because these are the ones that we know sell. A lot of indie authors, I think, are more likely to tell it like it is, tell the story how it comes to them, and have that personal connection to them. Right. And that's important, because there is no one image of Black women or Black men or Black love.
Right.
So,
that's
true. You get so many different stories told by indie authors for Black romance.
Right.
Yes.
That's true.
So do you have any more books coming out for 2020?
Not for 2020. I don't think so. I think Love from Beyond is the last one for this year.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to sum up the year. And do you already have a count of how many books you're coming out with for 2021, or you just still kind of up in the air?
it's interesting that you all asked about research because this one is going to be my most research intensive book yet.
I can't wait.
I bought several books to write this book.
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow. Okay.
Okay, well we are excited.
Definitely excited already. And then, see, this is what you do to us. This is what happens. So yes, definitely looking forward to it. So can you let the audience know where we can find you at? Give us your IG and also your Facebook, and that way when we put this out here, they can hear that you can follow me on
Instagram. I am author A.S. Wilson on Instagram, and then on Facebook you can find me at A.S. Wilson is my personal page, and then author A.S. Wilson I have a like page as well. And I also have a Facebook group that I'd love for anyone to join who's interested in my work. Even if you haven't read it and you're interested in reading some of my work, go ahead and request to join Read and Sip with A.S. Wilson.
All right. And can you just go ahead and run down the titles of your books that you have produced? I mean, what have written and so far?
Absolutely. So I self-published A Powerful Love and Keeper.
Mhm.
And then I signed with BLP. And through BLP, I published Just a Friend and Just a Friend 2.
Yes.
Then you all's favorite, Forever With You. Then Guard My Heart, Fuel My Fire, and the new release, Love From Beyond, just came out.
Yes.
Now I do have a question about Keeper. Now the best friend in Keeper, is she gonna get a story?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, it's not just me. Okay.
But no, her situation at the end is a little, it's questionable, right? Like,
Right.
it's like, you're kind of led to believe maybe the best friend found her happily ever after, but did she really?
That's what I was going to say. Did she? I mean, we would like to know. If you just want to tell us, we're okay with it. We won't tell nobody else. We won't tell anybody else. If you just give us a little short of what you think she did, I'm okay with that. Yes, definitely.
Because I was wondering, I was like, oh, I need to know if this is gonna be a part 2, because I need to know what's up with her, because she was funny acting to me, but
Just a little.
She definitely was. And for that reason, I think it's unlikely that the situation she's currently in will work out well for her.
Mhm.
Because she definitely had a lot more work to do on herself.
Right.
And not to say people can't meet you in a place where you're not all the way together and fall in love with who you are.
Mhm.
I absolutely still believe people can do that. But I think in order for her to kind of reach the state she needs to be in to connect in a healthy way with somebody, I think she still needed more work to do.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's unlikely that this new boo of hers is going to work out.
Yeah.
I also had people asking if there was going to be another story coming from Forever With You.
I want to know that as well. I think her own little story. So
Yes.
Penelope with her.
love to have what happened next with them.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm
What
sorry.
happened next?
Yeah,
Right.
what happened next with them? But not even that, just the sister. Like, I feel like she needs her own little story.
Cass and Symphony.
Yes, and her friends. Like, I love the fact that her and her friends just got together and was like, let's just go ahead and fight what we feel is right. Like, I think that's what America needs right now. We need people who is out here saying, let's do what's right. And if I'm going to be the charge of that, let's do it. So I love the fact of that. But I definitely love me some Vincent. Like, Vincent was so smooth. His friend was behind. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I didn't like him at all. But yeah, Vincent, I love him. Like, I love him,
Did
love
you
him.
dislike Baron even before we got to the end and saw that he was?
I just like,
underhanded when it came?
yes, from the beginning, like when he first spoke, I was like, why? Like, but you always have that friend that, you know, like, dude, like, why are we even friends? That's how I felt. Like, why are they friends? But you always have that friend that's like that. But yeah, I didn't like him at all. Like, at all. And Tiffany, I'm not even gonna get on Tiffany. Like,
Yeah, she's
woo,
one of the prima donnas. Just
she made me want to put my hair up a couple of times.
She
Yeah.
was a woman with an agenda, okay?
Yes.
she was.
Yes. Not a good agenda.
She had one.
Yeah, she definitely had
She
one.
had one. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we would like to
So
thank
you
you.
all were feeling the kind of energy that these female characters are bringing out.
Yes.
I want to say that Asha was actually, y'all were right on point. Asha was like the first female character I had that really, she just kind of really grabbed me by the throat and was like, listen, I'm unashamed of who I am.
Yes.
I'm unashamed of what I want. I'm not, even if you want to say, oh, I was just working at a music store.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Being like a prodigy violinist. Oh, I was unemployed for a minute. Oh, I live in someone's basement.
Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't make me feel less of who I am. Like,
Right.
try again.
And that's what I loved about her the most. That's why I think this book like became our favorite. It was mine and her separate, but then it
Mhm.
became our favorite.
Mhm.
Because that's what we want. I don't want someone that comes out like a Tiffany. Like, she was spoiled. She got everything she wanted. I wasn't brought up like that. I don't live like that. I'm an Asha.
Mhm.
So that's what I want to see. Like, we want to see ourselves. We want to see ourselves changing. Soraya, the same way. She was not born with a silver spoon in her mouth, but she knew all she wanted to do was race cars.
Right.
And for that to be taken away from her, she kind of lost her identity and like, what am I going to do?
But I love the fact about all these women, Soraya and Asha, is that they knew who they were. They were
Yes.
outspoken about what they believed,
Mhm.
what they wanted. They said they had standards, and they made sure that they didn't lower themselves for anyone, and they still found love. The man actually loved them for them.
Yeah, for
They-
them.
and they didn't have to change in order to get him to accept him. Them. Getting tongue tied. But I just love the fact that they found love with someone who accepted them as who they were. And then
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that about Asha too. I love the fact that the first time that they were planning to hook up at her place, and he got laid for a couple of reasons.
Right.
And then he wanted to text her later, like, okay, I'm on my way. She's like, I put my scarf on. Like, I told you not to keep me waiting. Like, I'm going to sleep.
Right. Right. Like, and, you know,
Yeah, I know. Like, I was sitting there as I was reading it, I was like, is he crazy? Like, you know how a girlfriend be like, boy, do you know how much it takes to do something like putting a scarf? No, I'm good. Yeah, I felt that part.
I love that about her. She was
unapologetic.
It's very different from, Tiffany being, really just arrogant.
Yes.
Mhm.
Trying to make demands that just have to do with what she considers to be valuable in life, which is,
Right.
I just want to be married. I just want to be with someone who has a lot of money.
That's true.
But it's very different with Asha, where she knew her worth, and she wasn't going to let anybody talk to her in a way they shouldn't, treat her in a way that they shouldn't. She was going to stand true to that, whether or not that means that you going about your business or not.
Right.
That's
Right.
true. That's how I felt about like Penelope standing up to when she stood up to her parent, her father.
Mhm.
Like,
Absolutely.
I loved it because it was their parents wanted them to live a certain way. And like his father said, do you know what we had to go through to be able to give this to you guys, and you kind of throwing away this?
Mhm.
I didn't agree with that. Like, I had to learn as a parent that when your kids get older, they're not going to go the way you want them to go. They're going to go the way that they want to go.
Right.
And as long as they happy, it should be okay. You should be okay with that. So I love the fact that she stood up for herself. And I'm just like, yeah, I feel like Penelope needs her own book as well. I mean, if I'm throwing things out there. Yeah, hint, hint. Maybe in another 5 years when she's a little bit older. Yeah, Penelope, let's see where Penelope's at.
5-year fast forward. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. I love throwing out ideas. So yeah, go for it. 5 years. That way we can see what Penelope's doing. We can see what Asha and Vincent is.
Right.
We don't want to see what Tiffany and Barrett is. I'm good with them. They can stay where they are.
Unless they're not doing so well, then you could throw it in there.
I don't even want to see if they not even if they not doing well. I'm okay with them. I'm okay on them. Yeah, they can stay out. Definitely.
No,
But
we
yes.
love your work.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely. And you can see. You can see. So yes.
We love your work, and we wish you much.
Thank you so much.
We
Yes.
wish you much continued success.
Encouraging words matter.
Yes. Oh, we're here with you until the wheels fall off.
Right.
And if we don't see too much from you, I will slide in your DM. Yes. Yeah, I will slide in your DM and be like, what's going on? Where you at, sis? Like, come on. So definitely. But from the bottom of my heart, I love you as an author. Keep up the great work. And just, I mean, all I can say is all great things for you.
Yes.
I see all great things for you.
Continue blessings.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
And to you too as well.
Thank you.
Thank you again for having me.
Oh my gosh. We had to, like, when we said this, we was like, who are we going to get first? And we got quiet and we was like, Ace Wilson. So definitely, yes, definitely. So thank you for joining us on our very first episode of Two Girls with a Mic. And well, yeah, that's all I can say is just thank you.
Thank you so much. And
Yes.
we will definitely be keeping up with you and talking to you again, so you would not be a stranger on our show.
No, you will not.
I can't wait to come back.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.